So we start with some polystyrene foam. This is from packing material. I drew out the profile of the hound's head and cut some contour lines to begin the process of shaping the head. Polystyrene foam is very messy. Cutting it on the bandsaw was clean, but as I was continuing to shape it, I realized I really should have used a hot cut wire, but I didn't have one. Instead, I used a hacksaw blade and sandpaper to get the work done. And then I moved to the eyes, which were ping pong balls with these Valentine's Day LED bracelets that I found at the dollar store. I got a bunch of those. They already had a resistor on them and wiring and an LED of the right color. So I just added wires, glued the LED into the back of the ping pong ball, and then I cut the clear plastic lens off of these googly eyes and glued them onto the eyeball after cutting a hole in the front and added a switch. Then came the mechanics of the puppet. You see I have rods there and bungee cords to aid in the movement of the puppet. Gives it some spring as it takes a step, but it was later determined that we didn't need to use the rods for this puppet, and so everything started to get fixed into place, and the puppeteers were able to use their hands to manipulate the legs. Then I added an armature for the head that gave me an XY rotation, and started cutting out the jaws from some scrap plywood. I will say this, all the plywood that I had used on this project, I would never use this kind of weathered plywood again. I would probably make it all out of solid wood because the plywood cracked in some unusual places before. And I had to go back and rebuild some parts of this puppet. So here I drilled a 1/4-inch hole and put in some all-thread rod to act as the hinge for the jaws, and a dowel at the base of the jaws for the mechanism that operates the snapping. And then I started adding craft foam to the top to make it easier to attach the fur later on. This polystyrene foam melts very easily with heat. It's not like the polyurethane foam that was used for the bear's head. It's very weak stuff. So I had to add material to bulk that up. This is actually several hours of work with phone calls and other things getting in the way. Then it came time to attach the underlayment, to which I would attach the batting to bulk out the dog. This again came from packing material, and once again I would never use this again. It was very airy, full of air bubbles, and it melted faster than the hot glue could set. So on those occasions when I had to reapply, I had to wait for the glue to cool down a little bit before adding pressure. But the stuff did work. It added bulk, and it created a surface to which I could apply the batting. The batting, of course, just adds mass, the appearance of mass. It adds volume to the whole puppet so that it can seem to be filling something out rather than just being, well, a skeleton underneath cloth. And since the unit wasn't going to be flexing so much as it was before in the blocking, I was able to take some liberties with this material. However, it did cause problems. One of the reasons why I had a problem with it was I had put the batting on and then the fabric too tight. And here I have the jaw all set up, ready to go, and I start measuring out the base layer of fabric. This is polyester fleece, the same thing that we use for modern baby blankets. And I thought that that would give a nice matte coat underneath. And it was stretchy, so if the unit moved, it would give some give. The legs and shoulders and hips of this dog were going to be separate pieces. I wanted them to all be one, like one piece of skin, but the fabric wasn't that stretchy, and so it didn't quite work out. As it is, the dog is going to work out just fine the way I put it together. Here I added the bicycle brake line to manipulate the jaw. It was just a brake line to which I wrapped some coat hanger around the wire and added a loop. And then I started fixing the foundations for the ears onto the dog. The trick with these high heat glue guns, hot glue guns, is you heat them up to melting and then you turn them off. This is just for me because it makes this so hot that any seepage burns my fingers. I've gotten a blister on the tip of my finger here because of the hot glue. Because of course it's hot glue, so it not only it sticks and burns, it just doesn't stick. So I add a little here, a little here, a little here. I was letting it cool in the air. Spiderwebs. Electronics there. And then I fit this into place. Now, this is not the final shape of these ears either. These are come on, stick where I want you to stick, not where you want to stick. There we go. These are basic shapes. I had debated for a long time whether I wanted to make this a wolf or a mastiff, and then I found images of a Tibetan mastiff, which that is one scary looking dog. So I have multiple layers of fake fur that are going to go on this thing. This has to go in the opposite direction. The nap is going this way. And the idea being that one layer like this adds a texture highlight on top of this. This is as cheap of synthetic fur as I could afford, I could get. Actually, this was cheaper, but I got these on sale. We did not go, yeah, I had it right the first time. We did not go to a fabric mart like Fifth Avenue in Los Angeles to get it.
I hope that you have enjoyed this build video so far. Part 2, however, is going to be the end of this series because I have been told not to reveal this very important prop before the show opens. I may have, in fact, already shown you too much. But as it is, people are going to be coming from great distances to see this show, and some of them watch my channel or watch the Shakespeare in the Vines channel, to which I sometimes post these videos just to let people know what's going on. So, for now, I'm going to leave it here, but once the show opens, I will make an update, and you will see the whole thing, and you will hopefully see it in action. But until then, thank you very much for watching these videos and for supporting my channel. And very soon I will be coming out with my next video, which is the completion of my forge build. The products that I was waiting for to produce the forge have arrived, and so I am going to be finishing that off and firing it up. Thank you very much again, and have a great